Hello, and welcome back to the definitive Starship review series without access to a proper table, where today we are going to be taking a look at the USS Shran from the Discovery Collection. An interesting ship, an interesting model, lot to talk about there. In wasting no time as well, we are going to get into the size comparison, because probably the most striking thing about this model, if you see, is its size. And I'll actually talk about it a bit before the model comparison. I was quite a late subscriber to the Discovery Collection. This was a model I was very much looking forward to, but I knew from the start, like, it was small. It's on the small side. How small? Well, here we have the small USS Equinox, and you can see, I think the standard edition Equinox might actually be just a smidgen taller, but they're gonna be within, like, millimeters of each other. Yeah, this is a standard size model. It doesn't really feel standard size, the way it juts out, but I'm sure if I really went digging, I could find a standard size that was this, just because of how flat it is as well. The Valdor, another common one I show on this channel, is longer than the Shran is tall, and in fact, there you go, there's your standard model that's the same size as the Shran. Actually, your standard model that is bigger than the Shran. It might even be taller, you know, not as much volume. It'd be really interesting to do like a water displacement test on these models. But yeah, this is a small model. Going over to some of the other collections, on the Discovery side of things, the USS Zimmerman is a very good size comparison. Zimmerman is longer. In fact, most things are going to be. I don't know if there's a smaller Discovery model than this or not. In fact, I've just tested it, and it's smaller than those small Section 31 models. So no, this is probably the smallest model. But perhaps a more useful comparison is the USS Braun, which is a larger model, but, you know, still pretty comparable to the other Discovery ones. The Shran is actually smaller than the saucer of the Braun alone, which is a bit disappointing. Like, I think a Shran with the saucer size, the same as some of the other big ships like this, would have been nice. Maybe even a bit bigger. You probably didn't need it to be that big, but, like, as I've said, when standard size models are beating out the size of your, what is it, double price, almost double price model, you probably should make this a bit bigger. And on the universe side of things, the Snakehead is a very good size comparison, which is actually weird, because the Snakehead feels bigger than the Shran. Seeing them side by side, I kind of get, like, this one's got a bit more volume, of course, but the Shran, like, I can see they're about the same size, but the Snakehead did not feel Shran size when I got it in the Universe Collection. It's hard to say exactly what the reason might be. I honestly think the Discovery Collection might have been running out of money a little bit. Discovery, speculation, of course, but Discovery does not perform. I mean, I know my videos are very different from these starships, but every single indirect comparison or measurement of Discovery's viewership numbers that I can get, like, what are the YouTube, like, reaction videos getting and stuff, not just mine, but other people's, are just awful. And of course, a lot of the late Discovery models were really small. I think this was earlier, might even been in the first 12, maybe a bit after that, so the first half. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Discovery models just don't perform a lot, so then maybe they had to shrink them down just to make their money back. And viewership numbers don't define the quality of a show, but I'd be fascinated to see what they are, because with Discovery having movie-level budgets for every episode and on its 4th season, surely it's successful, but for whatever reason, it just is not performing. It's performing like an unwatched show. But I'm starting to digress. The USS Shran, I mean, everyone loves the models named after legacy characters. Of course, this one named after the Andorian in Enterprise, if you don't know. Jeffrey Combs' character, the amazing Shran. And I love that there's a ship named after him. It makes sense as well. Of course, Andoria, one of the founding members of the Federation. And it's a lovely little ship. It's one of those ships for me that is weird. In a Star Trek perspective, it's really weird. Like, how the heck do you cross from this side of the ship to this one? You can't just walk through nacelles. They're, like, hollow and incredibly radioactive or dangerous or whatever. And, like, every single time we've seen inside a nacelle, it's been hollow. Like, I don't know, do you want this crew quarters right here? It's a weird ship, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Kind of like the Oberth in a lot of ways. But I really like it. Like, I don't know, it is a sci-fi ship. It's got a nice little design, and I think it works. I think it works enough and is interesting enough to justify its slightly weird concept. Again, like the Oberth. I don't know what general reception on this ship is, but the fact that it's the Shran, like the Nog in Discovery, one of my favorite designs of that era, the legacy characters always get great ships named after them. Then again, I've just remembered the USS Chekhov, which isn't as memorable. But let's take a closer look at what we've got. Again, it's one of those models where there's not a lot of color, but the color they do have, they get it just the right color of the red accents, and it looks great and kind of makes it feel more colorful than it is. It's obviously not just two gray colors. There's loads of the Discovery Aztecing. Even if we kind of zoom in here, you can see some fine, detailed, pretty subtle stuff on the rim of the saucer. In fact, the only bit that doesn't seem to have Aztecing is these bits, like right there and there, very small on the whole model. But other than that, the rest of the model is very well detailed. Even on the underside, just at a glance, maybe there's little bits close to the nacelles that don't have the Aztecing. I'm not sure what's up with that, but everywhere has just got the Aztecing, except maybe this back bit here. Probably, I'd imagine a lot of these bits actually line up to parts on the ship in the show that don't have Aztecing, but they're largely hidden bits, and so yeah, it's a very detailed, lovely little ship. Some nice detailing on the back end of the nacelles here. You've got the grating. You've got some weird, pretty detailed bumps. If I can get my camera to focus right, almost looks like a shuttle bay door behind that grating or something, as well as some grating here, if you can kind of hear that. Registry detailing on either side of the shuttle. You've got some on the back, on the shuttle, no, on the saucer. You've got some on the back, just says the name there. The registry number on the bottom I think is standard for a lot of Discovery ships. And that's about it. You've got pretty standard Discovery detailing on the front of the nacelles with the weird circly bits. You've got windowing detail all the way along the saucer. My camera is struggling with this model for some reason. But you can see even in the back, windowing work, detailing on all the sides, still with the Aztecing. I mean, probably like 99% of this model has got to have detailing over it and isn't just bland colors. So while it's small, it is a very loved, or like the designer definitely went over everything and made sure that every little corner looked right. So there is that. The final bit of detailing is, of course, the bridge bit. You've got a nice little observation-y bit. You can see front windows along there. And the bridge is pretty nicely detailed. There's not much to it, but you can see all the sculpting is there. You've got probably like Voyager-style ready rooms on the top there. Nice little bumps and indents all across the bridge. We'll see if I can get some real close-ups. There you go. You can start to see a lot of those just random little greebly indents and curves and whatnot on the bridge. And a lot of the ship does actually have these little rivets you can see. Paneling work, of course, from the 23rd century, not quite as refined material making, but you can just see a lot of really small detail work all across this model, as I've been saying. You've got, are those windows? No, I think those are just bumps along the nacelle. And then some nice, slightly more high definition, I think, windows, or maybe smaller for presumably crew quarters, maybe some science labs, a mess hall there or something. And all the registry and detailing work is crisp. All the windows is crisp. Very nice application of the detailing. I've just seen as well, you've got an interesting, rather unique pattern. I don't quite recognize it on the top of the saucer section there. But yeah, loads of detailing. I think it's layered detail, looking at a lot of the Aztecing. Like there's different layers of detailing with slightly different patterns that really make the ship stand out. And, well deserved. Jeffrey Combs deserves a ship named after him, and Shran is probably the best character you could name a ship after, because let's be honest, the USS Weyoun is not going to be a Federation ship anytime soon. And I did forget to mention the back of the nacelles. They do have more coloring, a nice little nacelle glow, and I don't know if that's just a light in both engines. I'm not as good at identifying modern Greeblies, but you've also got some nice grading on the bottom. So yeah, nice detailing in the back. Not that you look at the back too often. And I don't think I've done a close-up of the bottom of the nacelles, where you can see bumpy, a little bit more plain, as the bottom of ships tend to be, not just in the models, but also in the shows. A little bit of hints, not quite windows, but weird paneling for different rooms. And even these dark gray bits, you can see a lot of paneling and detailing work on there, as well as some windows, but it's always nice to see the bottom of these models get a bit of love. However, the top or maybe eye level view is definitely much better for this ship. And of course, finally, your green and red lights. And I'm probably going to say now, I'm not going to tell you if this model is worth the price. I enjoy it. I don't regret the purchase. I'm glad I own it, but I don't remember. I should be more of a professional. But that means different things to different people depending on how much money you have. So, I'm just here to tell you what the ship is, and you're here to make the decision. But I think I've just about covered everything on this Starship, as it is quite a small model. And I hope this gives you a much better idea on whether or not you want to purchase it. I definitely recommend it. It's just a question of if you think it's worth the money. But in terms of the pure model, ignoring cash, there's not really anything wrong with it. Maybe these could have bought a bit closer than a cell, just if you look real closely on the bottom, it does look like they didn't want to get the paint too close. But everything else is amazing detail all across the surface of the model. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions about this model, just ask me in the description. I'll do my best to answer them. If you want me to review a specific model, just ask. I've got a little over half the collection, all of the collections, and all the Discovery collection, in fact. So just let me know and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.